Off the Leash, episode 3. Mark Schwab, Ashley Holden, Leah Doherty, and Fred. How you doing, Fred? Fred Greetham, OBR, joining us for another episode of the Big Fun Show. I normally start this thing with a true-false question. We'll get to that, but we got some meat that just popped on the, as breaking news, literally within the last 20 minutes of us recording this, that reports out of Florida say Quinshon Judkins will not face any more legal entanglements. There's possibilities, of course, for an NFL hammer to drop on him with some discipline. But this seems very, I'm shocked. I'm surprised by this. What's your folks' reaction here? Anyone jump in?
Well, I mean, as far as I think that's big news for the Browns because I think he was a big part of their plans. You don't take a running back 36th overall if you weren't planning, and let Nick Chubb walk if you weren't planning on giving him the ball and him to be the bell cow. Those first 6 games, I've said all along, that's the toughest part of the schedule. That's when you need your running game to get going. Now, we don't know how much of that he would miss, but I think it's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, I guess since it's so early on, I don't know, I'm shocked that prosecutors dropped it just based on like some of the information and evidence I had seen from it. Obviously, of course, like you said, NFL Browns, I would imagine there's still going to be some sort of punishment coming down from him. So like, when are we going to see him? But I mean, Jimmy Haslam said, I don't know, a couple weeks ago that they fully expected to sign him. And so I think we felt like at some point he was going to be with this team. It was just a matter of when. And now it seems like it could be a little sooner than we thought, because what was the news that came out? Didn't he like waive his right to a speedy trial?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't know enough. I'm not educated enough to know how that kind of fits into all this.
So the trial wouldn't go till probably January after the season, as opposed to it had to be in 60 days.
Okay.
If it was a speedy trial.
So how would it benefit him to do that?
Well, he has no legal entanglements until he went to trial, but it doesn't sound like he's going to trial.
Okay.
I will say, I think Deshaun Watson had his charges not, he wasn't pursued. He got in trouble on the NFL side for just kind of their investigation. So I don't know if he's out of the woods yet, so to say.
Right, because the NFL could come down or the team could come down and he could still miss a couple of games, and then we don't know how many games that would be. But like you said, Fred, I think it is a step in the right direction when it comes to the team, because they want to use this guy. That's what they're looking to do, like you said. So, and I think he was looking pretty good in OTAs and practice and stuff like that. So this is kind of what they want.
How many games was Mike Holt suspended for?
5, wasn't it?
5.
Okay.
So I think that's a good gauge, right? It could be a
that's what I
little
was
more,
wondering.
could be a little less, but
In his situation, they recanted, the fiance recanted, so they didn't have a case there, and the NFL still gave him 5 games.
Yeah, so that could be something that they're looking at.
of course he hasn't signed his contract yet, but now that can be, hopefully that can be cleared up, and we'll get a little more clarity on his status, obviously, with the team, and also when we get some kind of a timetable on when we might see him again. All right, I always try to start with a true-false question, get right into something. Go around the room, true or false, the Browns will keep all 4 of these quarterbacks. They will have 4 of these guys on the active roster week 1.
True.
I said true.
True, but they won't all be active for the game.
Okay.
True.
Yep. I like that. Okay, yeah, I do think that it's just, I don't know how you make an argument to move on from any of them other than maybe Pickett. And even still, he's second on the depth chart right now. How bad can he be compared to the other options? It's a rare circumstance. I think they have to keep 4. They need a guy, throw a lot of darts.
But Haslam has came out and said that when they did their press conference that he can see a world where all 4 quarterbacks are on this roster.
I
feel like
can.
that's exactly what they're doing, considering for the last 2 years they have used multiple quarterbacks. I think they've learned that they need to keep these quarterbacks around. But like Fred said, I don't think they'll all be active game day.
So who do you think would be like 3 active on game day, 1 on practice squad, or 2 active game day, 2 on practice squad?
I feel like that would switch back and forth between Dylan and Shador.
For me, week
naturally.
1, I think the depth chart they put out is the depth chart.
Yeah,
Flacco
I would
1,
agree.
Pickett 2. I think Gabriel was ahead of Sanders. I think if Sanders leaps Gabriel, it's obviously pretty big news, and it's an admission then by the Browns that, hey, that guy's better, and we picked this dude 2 rounds earlier than that one and thought this guy was 2 rounds better than this one, but he's actually better. if Shedeur Sanders is better than Gabriel, I hope they have the guts to do that.
When they get to game day, you now have the third emergency quarterback that can dress, but he can only go in if the first two. So I see that, and the fourth one being inactive. So right now, I would say Gabriel would be the third, and Sanders be the inactive, type of a thing, unless they trade, one of them. And I still think that that's a possibility if they can get a taker.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating, too, about all these quarterback injuries. Only the Browns would have, what do we have, 6 quarterbacks now in total on this team?
6 on the roster.
Yeah, and potentially need a 7th based on all the different injuries that they've had. But that's what's frustrating is, you want to see Gabriel and Sanders, go head-to-head in a preseason game and really have a fair metric of comparing these two guys. And then now, of course, if we have a good chance of seeing Dylan on Saturday, well, then now we're not going to see Shedeur, which is frustrating. You can compare Shedeur's, preseason first game. Obviously, you can compare that to what Dylan does, but I would love to see them both in a game.
Yeah, and I think that's the positive thing, right? Not that Shedeur is hurt, but the fact that we are probably going to get to see Dylan. We know he was dealing with that hamstring injury, and a lot of people are like, okay, we need to be able to compare because right now Shedeur does have all of that juice, that swag.
Sure.
A lot of people are like, one good game, start him right now.
Ready.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Ready.
Look, I'm going for Shedeur all the way, but I'm also like, okay, dude, it was one, and
calm down.
the Carolina Panthers first defense was in for 2-3 series.
And there were a lot of short
and he didn't do
throws
anything.
to backs
Exactly,
and tight ends.
right. First touchdown comes off a muff punt. We're just throwing facts out there. But we know that Dylan did miss a little bit of time. He's excited to get back on the field Saturday and show what he can do. And this was him yesterday just speaking about what he is looking forward to showing on Saturday.
No frustration, just things that you got to get better from, and things that you got to attack. There's times where you're trying to get better and things don't go your way in that way. But it's just daily work to try and get back. And I try to just stay in the moment. I'll look forward to that moment once it comes and be right where my feet are. But, I've known the best competitors have be present and be themselves by competing at a high level, just one play at a time. So we'll see.
Dylan really might be like a silent killer. He might come out there and he might really ball the heck out because so much of this talk is about Shedeur, that I really feel like he's like, okay, I'm going to really pop out and I'm going to show y'all what's up.
Of the 4 guys, he was the guy I'm most excited to see in this training camp. They invested day 2 draft capital in him. It was a surprise pick, but clearly the Browns saw something. If he lives up to that draft capital, the Browns, rare you get to say this, the Browns will have been the smartest guys in the room. But they legitimately saw something. I don't believe Kevin Stefanski is a fool, and Kevin Stefanski really liked this guy. I want to see this because if he is who they think he is, I'm not saying he's a world-beating franchise quarterback, but he's a guy. He's a piece, right? I don't believe Pickett's a piece. I think Flacco is a piece for this year, and, of course, the Shedeur Sanders mystery is well discussed. But Gabriel is the guy that somebody banged the table for him, and they threw a third-round pick down, surprised the league, really liked him. I want to see what this dude has. He threw a ton of passes in college football. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there is something to be said for guys that just throw lots of passes in college football. They've seen a lot of things. They've seen a lot of coverage. It's like, I want to see what he can do.
I understand the divisiveness and the backing for the Sanders fans and so forth, but Browns fans in general need to really hope Gabriel shows up and shows out like Sanders does, because this would be tremendous for the franchise if they have glimpses that 2 possibilities can be the long-term answer, because that would allow them not to go into we got to get another quarterback with one of these first 2 picks next year. If they show that they can play, you could get 2 other positions they need addressed. And so that's where I think it's very good that Sanders showed up for that. We talked about last time. All you have to remember is DTR's first game in the Hall of Fame game. Everybody was ready to say he's the answer. And until
what was the question at that point? If he's the answer, what's the question?
Well, that's the point. And so I wanted to see Sanders stack another game, but not going to. But Gabriel now, the standard is set, at least what Sanders did, and I think Gabriel has a chance to show up, and it is a little unfair to him because he was like their top choice, and he's been totally under the radar, like overshadowed. He has the record for the most touchdown passes in college football history. Sanders is the most accurate quarterback in college football history. So you got two people that have done it at a high level, and what if, you got one A and one B, long term? That would go a long way.
By the way, to tell you, this isn't to shoot you down, but you probably know this too. The guy who has the college football record for most yards passing in a season, Bailey Zappi, who was already here and washed out.
Saw how well that worked.
And he is one of those guys also that threw a ton of passes, like I talked about. It just didn't work out. Well, let's see if this guy can work out. And Fred's got a great point there. That's a lot of touchdowns. And I did not realize he was the most accurate quarterback in college football history. I missed that.
Sanders was 74% last year. The knock was he took the sack instead of getting rid of the ball. And that's why he had a high completion. So they're trying to get him to get rid of the ball. It's not a bad play in the NFL to throw it away as opposed to a sack.
You saw a little bit of that in the preseason game, too, of, okay, this is going to be a little bit of a learning curve from him as opposed to just turning around and running. It's like, it's okay to get rid of the ball. I'm curious, too. It seems pretty clear that Flacco's going to be the week 1 starter, especially Kenny Pickett having an injury that sets him back in the quarterback race. So, at what point does Stefanski come out and name the week 1 starter?
This is something, actually the thing I was most intrigued about heading into this preseason is there's 2 ways to handle this. One, they go through this laborious BS production where every week we don't know, they won't announce the starter, we'll find out in week 1, and every single time Kevin Stefanski addresses this, you see the nose growing longer and longer and longer because we all know it should be Joe Flacco. That's one way to handle that. Or get to about now or next week and say, Joe's the guy, let's go. And the rest you can sort out. You can attach mystery to who's the backup. But they need to name Joe Flacco the starter. Do you think this happens anytime soon, Fred?
I've been around Kevin enough that he just doesn't, say anything on those type. It's obvious, I've been saying this all along, even before the injury, is that Flacco is the most obvious to open the season with that gauntlet. They're opening up with 5 of the 6 are playoff teams. 5 of the 6 all had 10 wins or more last year, and the Bengals were the worst of the 6, and they were 9-8, and we all know they're good. So I just think that he's proven he's been there, done it, and then you're going to have plenty of season to see everybody else if you want to see Pickett or whatever, but see how you go. And if they get on a roll, then you keep going. If you fall flat in your face, it's much easier to move on from Flacco. But as far as naming it, I said all along it'd be after this weekend. I don't know if he'll come out Monday and say that, but I think he should.
I think he should, too.
I think that he'll just decide to wait till the last possible moment to just name
1 o'clock Sunday
is.
Against the Bengals?
Well,
I honestly would not be surprised if something like that happened, but I don't believe that they brought Flacco in here and said, listen, you're really going to compete with these 2 rookie quarterbacks. Yes, I remember that Pickett is here too, but that they brought him here and said, hey, we're just going to put you – you're just going to sit on the bench. No, I don't believe that. I believe, they're going to use him in the beginning of the season. Now, what happens in that middle part where the bye week is and after, don't know. But they are definitely going to use him in the beginning. I kind of see them, having a good time, now, Joe, I'm going to start you, right?
Well,
I don't believe that they're telling him, I really don't know if you're going to start. We might put Dylan in front of you.
Joe,
I don't believe that.
Joe, in fairness to him, he alluded to it in Carolina when we talked to him. He said, he's 40, he's been 80. He goes, I've been getting 3 reps, and I'm feeling like I got to do real good on these 3 reps. He goes, I'd kind of like to get into a rhythm and know, what's going on. So I think he's saying, I kind of want to know, so I can get prepped.
Well, and okay, because you had something with Joe Flacco, a soundbite from him. Was that a couple days ago? Or was that yesterday?
Yeah, that was him just talking about basically how he felt wanting to know, when the starter to be named. So we'll throw it to that.
Kevin's Kevin, man. He's the one in charge, and I'm not really looking into when he's going to do things and why he's going to do things. As I've said, I'm just kind of going out there and being myself, and feel really confident about what I've been doing. So that's all I can do.
Okay, so I have a question off of that. Say the media, we don't find out for a little bit who the starter is. Does Stefanski, though, behind closed doors, like, do they tell Flacco before we find out early on? I mean, you have to. Like, if you're going to fully commit and this is going to be your guy, like your quarterback needs to know that I'm the guy. There's a certain confidence that comes with, okay, I'm the guy, and you start handling things. Not that he would handle things a different way, but you kind of assume that role of, like, I'm the guy. I'm no longer competing and kind of waiting my turn and seeing what we're due. Like, I'm stepping up and I'm the leader and, like, I'm the guy. And if you want to give your quarterback the best chance to be successful, like, you need to put that confidence in him of, you're our guy.
Yeah. You would hope that they tell them well before they tell us.
Right.
And when I mean well, I mean more than 24 hours. Tell him on Sunday or Monday, and we find out like Wednesday or something, whenever the availability is. But I would hope that
Kevin does that.
hope he doesn't find out through the media.
Even with the preseason games, like he makes sure his availability was before practice today. Who's going to start? Well, we'll wait and talk to the players first. And so he knows he doesn't meet with the media again until the game, after the game. So it'll kind of be Monday back here in Cleveland. There's availability. Or no, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, right?
So
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Wednesday. I expect, him, if he hasn't, he'll say he needs to talk to the team, but he will.
That's going to
tell
be the
them
first question from everyone. Mm-hmm. What are they doing?
They'll put out a statement ahead
Yep.
of time, text us saying
Right.
Joe's going to be the quarterback.
So I do agree that like this weekend is probably going to be a lot of pressure on Dylan to try and, I don't even want to say live up to what Shedeur did, but to be able to show everyone that he can play like Shedeur or with Shedeur or better than Shedeur, whatever you want to say it is. But I think what gets lost in there is talking about Joe and all of his experience. The guy went to Super Bowls. The guy is a Super Bowl winner at the end of the day. And we, the media, love to ask him about these guys. They asked him about Shedeur's oblique injury and Dylan coming back. And, I mean, this guy is just hilarious. We have to just listen to it.
Yeah, he said something about it, and I don't know, what can I do? Oh, man, sorry, man, It's kind of tough, we all want to be out there and getting reps. But, hey, that's what training camp and football is all about. Sometimes sometimes these things happen. Sometimes you got to deal with them, and it is what it is.
Dylan's coming back, from a hamstring. How have you noticed him kind of progressing, as he's gotten back into a flow of getting more, team rep type of stuff?
Me and Dan were just laughing. You guys like to ask me about these guys, and what if I just said honestly though, guys, we're in that room together and we're all doing things together. But when it comes out in this field, I'm not super worried about what Dylan's doing to get back from his hamstring. I'm focused on us getting better and us doing the best we can against Philly, and that includes him. You want to see him get out there and have good reps and do those things. But as far as him coming back and getting ready, listen, I know he's itching to get back out there. Anytime that when you're young and you're in a quarterback room that's having a competition and you don't get to be out there every day, that's tough. So my message to him would just be hey, don't press. Just go out there and be yourself. Just because you missed a little bit of time here and there, that doesn't mean that you have to go out and do extra when you get out there. Just go play your game, And so if there was a message for him, that would be it.
Literally, that was my best. When I watched that interview, I thought it was funny. He said, "What if I was just like?" It is so. I just think Joe is funny, and I think he's so real. He does not. I think he cares about them as I'm sure people, but he does not care how they're doing, right? He's not
They
paying
aren't
attention.
his responsibility.
Exactly.
No.
And it's everyone's trying to make him into this mentor, and he's talked about that. I'm not here to do that, dude. I know I'm good, or I had this and I had this experience, and I share it when I share it, but I'm not out here trying to take him under my wing and blah blah blah. So I just thought that was hilarious because I just thought that was real. And he's like, "Oh, you're oblique. Sorry, dude. It works out."
He also said, I'm not here to, pad my kids' college fund. I'm here to play. I want to start. That's why I'm here, And so, that's unfortunate, the competition, but he's not too worried about that. I don't think either of the rookies were ever seriously in the competition to start.
No. And it's just It's funny too. That's what you get, like when you get a veteran who's been around media and been in the league for so long. You get that level of, I think, like candor and comfortability to where they're not as worried about being like buttoned up. And he was like, I don't know, I don't care. Like, I mean, I do care, and like I hope for the best, and I hope they get back out there. But also, like, I don't care. I'm worried about this team. Right. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go over to Dylan and be like, oh, I hope you're coming back soon. Good luck. You know what? Like, I don't know. They talk. He probably says that.
I think that was the funniest part when he basically said, like, I'm not concerned or worried about Dylan's coming back from his injury. But yeah, like, okay, but then he said some like good positive advice after.
Then
and
he
was
did
like,
answer the question.
Like, let me put something in there and not seem like a complete jerk or something.
He got a hamstring hurt. It's not like he got hit by a bus.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's
totally.
not anything.
They're acting like he's coming back from brain surgery.
Right. It's a hamstring. It's a soft tissue injury. They happen all the time.
And I think
they're going to happen again.
I think even too, like, injuries are such a part of the game. They're so common. Even if he were to lose, like, Jerry Jeudy or something, right? Like a guy that really does impact him if he loses them. I feel like anytime you have injuries like that, you talk to these players and they're like, yeah, it sucks. Like, we hope him a speedy recovery, but, like, we got to move on and focus on what's next. Like, it's kind of like, what else are you supposed to say? But, like, yeah, we feel for him. Hope he gets back soon. I don't know.
That's going to be
It is what it is.
What else do you want me to say? And when it's someone you're competing with, like, it's just, like, kind of quotes, air quotes, like, yeah, he's so hilarious. That with his TikTok dance too, when he like came out and he was like, "You people look like idiots if you're doing TikTok dances or whatever."
And he's so serious when he says these things.
Yes, he is.
Like, absolutely.
And I just want him to be named a starter sooner rather than later, because he said his kids keep asking him, and he was like, "It's kind of a little humbling when you get home and your kids are like, so Dad, have you been named the starter?" And he's like, "No, not yet."
We want to know if we want you on our fantasy team. That's what he said a couple years ago. He's just real. And he's a different stage of life.
Listen, that's where the kids get it from. At this point, they get it from good old Joe. He's been the healthiest guy out there. So like,
that's what's so funny too.
Don't knock that age. But we need to talk about the Browns defense and them going against Jalen Hurts and the one offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. We will talk about that on the other side of the break.
The joint practices, in some ways, no, in a lot of ways, actually, they're more important than the actual preseason game. And Fred and I were talking on a different podcast earlier in the week, and you brought up a good point.
You and Fred were talking on a different podcast?
Yeah, they got one on the OBR.
We weren't invited.
Yeah.
Fred, we weren't invited to the OBR?
It was.
Leah, are you hearing this?
I know.
It was our debut, and he was our first
Yeah, that's the
guest.
first guest.
Wow.
You guys are on the list.
You're on the list.
We're just
how
not the
far
first.
down the list are we?
Well,
So in the depth chart, it goes Mark Schwab, and then we'll see who comes
Hey,
after.
I'm not really concerned about their reps here, Fred.
This is crazy. Please continue now.
But
Continue.
Fred brought up a great point, because we were talking about it, and I said I always want to see how does the defense handle like the other team's receivers, because you can get some physicality. And you mentioned a couple of years ago, A.J. Brown went out and tore them up.
Yep.
That's the stuff I'm looking for. That's the practices. That's the important stuff.
And, we're hearing a lot from the reports, even from the Philadelphia beat writers that were watching it, is that the Browns' defense really, had the better of the Eagles' offense today. And you think about that, that's the defending Super Bowl champions. I just want them to be competitive. That would go a long way, but they said, there was sacks. Miles they couldn't block, and Graham had a couple sacks, and so I really think that's the ticket. I said all along, for this team to be relevant is a top 10 defense again, and a great running game. And this news of Judkins could really help out, because I didn't really see it without a bell cow back. And but the defense, Schlesinger's been showing up, Graham's been showing up. If those two guys alone hit the ground running, I think this defense, especially defensive line, they are deep and they have a lot of good players. And so I was encouraged to hear, even though I didn't see it in person this week, that they're holding their own. And guys like Denzel Ward were breaking up passes. And I was concerned a little with the depth of the secondary when Emerson went down. And so it's going to be a concern. But so far, so good. I felt these two practices were probably the apex of training camp, not so much the preseason game. So you got to go one-on-one, all these matchups, your offensive line against their great defensive line, and really see how you stand up. And those players know, and they're going to come out of there feeling we can compete. This is the best team in the NFL last year.
And we heard from Denzel Ward about those joint practices and how much it helps him, like you said, being able to see different schemes and things like that. This is what he was saying actually in Philly.
It's good going against our guys, but it's kind of we see the same things every day, going against the same guys. But getting a different look and different formations, going against different receivers is helpful because that's how it's going to be during the year. A lot of guys got a lot of great opportunities. Cam Mitchell, all those guys with our guy MJ going down. So great opportunity to be starters in this league and be out here and be a player for this team. So looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. Yeah, I think it prepares us. I mean, it gets us ready for the season. I mean, just like the season, we're going to be going against different teams and going against those guys and getting different looks. So it's just like we're in the season already just before. So I think it's great work, and I like the joint practices.
And again, they said that Jalen Hurts was out there for 90% of those snaps. So it was very good work for the defense to go against someone that they could see in the playoffs, they could see, the season, whatever it might be, or going against a top, offense, someone that is coming off of just winning the Super Bowl.
They had joint practices with Philly last year, right? Or am I wrong?
2 years ago, I think.
Was it 2 years ago?
Last year,
I can't
Minnesota came to Berea.
That's right.
That's
that
when
was
we
kind
saw
of a
Deshaun
mess,
Watson
right?
get picked off a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I
happened
think
a lot,
that did happen.
though. I mean,
But it started in joint practice.
That happened a lot. No, I feel like this bodes well. The fact I don't think they were allowed to tape during practice, but from what we've seen from reporters and stuff, the fact that there's that intensity, the fact that this defense seems to be kind of going back to that 23 version that we saw, I completely agree with what you said. Like, that's going to be their anchor. That's what they need to have back again that they definitely did not have last year.
That defense played good in the first 7 games. If you look back on it last year, they played good enough to win 5 of those 7 games. But the quarterback and the offense was so historically bad. They couldn't score over 16 points. And that's the defense holding them to 18, 20 points. And they're losing because the offense couldn't get the ball in the end zone or even a field goal could be made.
Mm-hmm.
That is a Deshaun Watson comment.
Here's the thing on that. Last week in Carolina, there's 6 quarterbacks on the field that are on the roster. Watson was on the field in street clothes, but 4 of them were injured. How can that be? What is it in the water? Quarterbacks.
These guys not stretching? What are we doing?
Hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Wild.
Well, it can't be the stretchy because Deshaun has a freaking Pilates studio at the bottom of his house.
Does he use it?
Is he not? I don't know. Jilly is using it. So
I
he
was
needs
like,
to use
I know
it
his
if
wife
not.
uses it. I don't know if he does.
Leah is a Pilates advocate.
So is Tanner Bybee.
It's a Browns podcast.
We talked about it
she's
again
featured
yesterday.
the Guardians.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the Guardians. I could go off forever, but yeah, big fan.
I've only done Pilates once or twice, but I look to continue. You take me and Mark.
Okay, I have one final question.
Okay.
Before we get to that,
yes, go.
We do want to address that Kevin Stefanski did bring up Myles Garrett, need for speed, which is nice for a team. It does not work when you are on the road. We did hear from Stefanski on that, so let's hear it.
Extremely disappointing. It's been addressed with Myles, with the football team. He needs to slow down for his safety and the safety of others.
Well, he was going 100 miles per hour in the 60 zone, so that's kind of fast. This comes 3 years after his single car crash that left him hospitalized for a couple of hours. I guess just before we close things out, I don't want to make it seem like it's not a big deal. I swear I'm not doing that. My only thing about it is I don't want to say everybody speeds, but kind of everybody does speed. I think it's one thing to be going that fast, but I think when they continue to, I guess we bring it up so much in the media, I guess I'm just surprised because it doesn't seem like that. I don't want to say that big of a deal because if something happens, it happens. But I'm like, there's a lot of people that speed. If you're going 27 in a 25, you're speeding.
Yeah, but I think it's a totally different conversation when you're going like over 100 miles per hour. And also, too, when you are a public figure, I think you're held to a higher standard. I think Myles Garrett, with that new contract, is held to a higher standard. I think he's expected to be a leader on this team, whether or not he is, or he wants to be, or he views himself as one. I think that's a different conversation. But yeah, I think if people were putting Shador through the ringer for his speeding tickets, then like Myles should be held to the same level of accountability for his. And yeah, it's kind of like, it's frustrating and it's stupid and he shouldn't be doing it. And then that's kind of the conversation of like, okay, it's stupid and he shouldn't be doing it. And
what was Miles saying to Shedeur, his counsel as the leader saying, hey, how was it? Were you going that I don't know if he said you can't do that, and then he turns around and does that. But just what he went through, you would think that would scare you to death, And I think if you got $160 million, you can probably hire an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
But how fast
that's
will
why
the
he's got a
Uber
Ferrari.
go?
But I mean, it's probably, and the thing is, these are probably not the only times these people are speeding. These are just the times that
when
they
you
get
get
caught.
caught.
And then you
Of course
don't know if there's some cops that let them off or who they are.
Of course.
Or whatever it is. So, yeah, listen, put that speed on the field. Keep it off the roads.
wow.
Click it or ticket.
So well said.
That's not the same one.
So
but
well
anyways,
said.
Leah, go ahead with your question so we can wrap this up.
Okay, I promise I do have a real reason for bringing up Taylor Swift. I know everyone's going to roll their eyes because I'll do anything I can to bring up Taylor Swift. So she was on the New Heights podcast, Cleveland Relevance, right? Both the Kelsey brothers. So she had said early on her concept of football was that it was like Jared Goff and Josh Allen were both on the field at the exact same time. Someone blew a whistle and they just went at it. So my question, which sounds super fun, if you could pick two quarterbacks that would both be on the field, they don't have to be active NFL quarterbacks, past, present, whoever, two quarterbacks you could pick to both be out on the field together with their offenses, and it's just blow a whistle. This is a race for who can score first. What quarterbacks do you want going head to head?
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
Reasons?
Joe Burrow and Josh Allen.
It's a podcast. You have to elaborate, Mark.
Because I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I think Josh Allen is maybe the most explosive quarterback when you consider everything he brings to the table. I'm sorry, Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs way up there, but they have scaled back a little bit on what Pat Mahomes has done over the last few years. He's just trending down a little bit. Never ask me a Joe Burrow question. The answer will always be Joe Burrow.
That's a toughie for me. That's a toughie.
Wouldn't that be fun, though?
It's a toughie, but I might go Mike Vick because I simply love him.
Oh, this is of any time?
Yes, that's what I said. Anytime,
love
any quarterback.
Mike Vick, so he won't. Not what he did, but
Yeah, right.
I'd probably say Mike Vick, maybe either Big Ben.
Yeah.
Or,
You want someone
or
bulky,
slash
like if-
Big Ben slash Cam Newton.
Okay.
Slash Cam Newton.
Dude, Cam
I just
Newton
gave
and
you-
Vic at the
That's
height
why-
of their powers.
You
That's
see what
what
I'm saying?
See, this would be fun.
See, and you went over here talking about Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. No, shout out
Okay,
to Josh
Fred,
Allen.
what's
They're
yours?
both probably future
Old
Hall of
school.
Famers.
Stay local.
Mike
Otto
would've been.
Graham. He played 10 years. They won
Yeah.
the championship 10 years in a row. And,
Who'd you
I
say?
don't
I'm
think-
sorry, I missed
Otto
that.
Graham.
Okay.
one of the best all time. They got a statue down there at the stadium, but I only saw a video of him. I'm not that old, but as far as and Roger Staubach, who played with the Cowboys, two of the greats. All
Yeah.
time.
I kind of feel like maybe like Patrick Mahomes and Peyton Manning, I think would be fun
love Peyton.
to watch them go head to head. Especially Peyton Manning, like I said, like you want a big, bulky guy. If we got two offenses, maybe they got to run. They're crashing into each other. I don't know. I want a big guy, maybe like Big Ben, like you had said too. But
Bills
Shout out to the
Chiefs
Steelers.
game a few years ago, playoffs when it was Allen and Mahomes. That was unbelievable. 13, 20 seconds. They were scoring less than 30
Just want to
seconds at a
recall and
time.
let everyone know that was the greatest game that I've ever seen in my life.
You covered that, didn't
oh,
you?
Yes.
you were covering them at that
But-
time,
Covered the
right?
Bills.
I got there later because I had just gave birth.
Isn't
And I
that
was
crazy?
and I was on maternity leave, and I came off to go.
No, but what's even crazier?
Because I was like, I can't miss this game, and that happened.
Yeah.
And then I never shed a tear before, but that one I was like,
But what's even crazier is Ashley was like fully pregnant, worked a game, and then after she worked the game, like went and had twins.
yep.
Don't expect that from
When
me.
preg-
if that
I went labor that night. Yep.
Crazy.
Well, yeah. The
Good for
story is
you.
I was trying to have the babies at the game. I just thought it'd be cool.
It would be a good.
It didn't work
story.
out for me that way. They ended up being in
But
the hospital.
honestly, it's not like the worst idea because
Well,
think
people
of
it's
the
crazy.
medical personnel.
Right. People think it's crazy.
That's
You'd
there.
be better off having babies or a baby at a.
Well,
at
don't
a
recommend
game.
it to
no,
people,
I'm not telling
but-
everyone to go out there and do it. But there was way more medical personnel than you going to like.
You already have an
you going-
ambulance.
yeah,
You-
being in a
right?
grocery store. Like I can't be in Heinen's and something breaks out. Like
Right. Something
What would
breaks
happen?
out. Mark
What
is
would
like,
happen?
get me out of this conversation.
Mark's like, let's close this podcast.
I've
All right,
got a hit on. I got to go do the news.
All right. Another great episode of Off the Leash. Make sure you check it out wherever you get your podcast and Cleveland19.com. For Fred, Leah, and Mark Schwab, I'm Ashley. See you later.
Bye.